How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name's Cameron, you can call me Super King Cam. So we just got released the latest PRB 2 cards. So in this video we're going to be going through it for my first time reactions, try and see or theorize what decks I will playing. I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so for the first card we have, so 4-cost 5,000 power Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy, Supernova, Straw Hat. On play on your turn as well, if your leader is multicolored and your opponent has less than 7 Don on the field, at the start of your opponent's next main phase, your opponent rests one of his active Don. So first thing I'm thinking about is the recurring effect of this, as it's not only just on play, it's on your turn. So I'm essentially thinking this is very good against maybe decks like Reiju, who always stay in Don negative. Green Purple Luffy as well. It's good early game moves. It definitely is a nice new tech card for green. So decks like Green Yellow Law, maybe Bonnie, as it has a little bit of a freeze factor to it, same as like the other Jewelry Bonnie card that freezes a rested Don. Although if you attach a Don there, it isn't frozen. This one is just it freezes one of his active Dons, which is a little bit more effective because it's a guaranteed 1 Don freeze. Can be very annoying for your opponents, especially if you like say Buggy needs 5 Don, and if you freeze maybe one of those Dons on his turn, this Don play, like 4 comes out, your opponent then will be on, so you're on your 4th Don turn, 4 Don turn, you play this card, your opponent then is on 5 Don, it freezes 1 Don, so then they're back to 4. Buggy can't really play his leader ability, I'll have to play another 4-cost. So in that aspect it is very, very good. I like the card, it has a counter. I mean, it doesn't have a great stat line, but that's because it has 1k counter. It's a very niche card. You probably don't swing with this card, to be fair. You try and maybe force opponent to try and bottom deck it, because on your turn, if your leader is multicolored, your opponent's less 7 Don, you just keep using that recurring effect until your opponent goes over that. And maybe you leave it on the board if they could go under. Maybe like some certain purple decks, or like so Black Purple Luffy, Blue Purple Luffy. Yeah, the Black Purple Luffy, sorry, the one that where you put Nika down, minus his 10 Don. But I mean, if that comes down, you're more than likely he's going for the win. But if you have this on board, then you could freeze that Don that he restands. So there's some nice niches. I like the card. I think it's something different. I think that it's, especially with a Luffy type card that freezes Don, we don't really see that as often. I like it. I think there's a lot of viability and a lot of ways that you can actually take this card and make it work. Is it game breaking? Probably not. Is it up to date and relevant? I think there should be a spot in the meta for it. But I mean, that's what we want. Overall we want a nice, balanced, fair game. We don't want to make anything too busted. But yeah, just have a look at the new. So that's my thoughts. Have a look at the next one. So we have Lucky Roo. It's a 4-cost, 2k power. Redhead Pirates, 1000 counter, always nice for a Shanks deck who runs bricks normally. On play, you may discard 1 character card with 6000 power, draw 2 cards. Okay, so essentially what this is this is a hand shuffler, and it is a blocker, but you're not netting any cards, theoretically. So you play 1 card from your hand. So you play Lucky Roo, you lose 1 card. You then, on play, you trash another card. So that's 2 cards. Then you draw 2 cards. So you're breaking even. However, you have a blocker on the field, which means that if your opponent attacks you, you save in a card from countering out because you can use the blocker. The power stat line is quite low, which means you can be removed quite easily with any power effective cards. But his cost at a 4-cost, it requires a little bit of effort to remove that. So I understand where they're going, trying to keep it balanced. The fact that it's a 1k counter as well, I like it. Does it really make the Shanks deck that much better? Probably not. I mean, the other Lucky Roo takes a 6k body with it when it gets KO'd. Do I see a world where this replaces that? Maybe if you decide to run a bit more brickier builds, possibly. I don't. To be honest, the nice thing I like about it is that it is a redhead pirates, because I see a lot of Shanks decks don't really use any redhead pirates, so I'm nice to have a little bit of option. Although for me, Lucky Roo never really strike me as a character that is below par. Really, I always thought Lucky Roo might have something special about him. Don't know why. And the cards that they've released for him have been pretty alright. I would like to see a little bit of more something from a Lucky Roo. But maybe that comes down the line. It's a good card, not game breaking. It will find its niches, I think, in certain builds. Shuffling your hand is always an advantage, and have a 1k counter and a chum blocker is always nice. I like the card. I don't think it makes Shanks that much more oppressive, to be honest. The next card we have is Jewelry Bonnie. It's a supernova. It's a 3 cost, 3k power, 1k counter. It is a blocker, and it states that when your opponent attacks, once per turn, activate one of your Don. Wow. Okay, so that's super strong, but it's counterintuitive. So, firstly, I'd say it's like a Rouge, which is a blocker as well, and you want to keep that on the board, but it's a bit cheaper at cost, so probably more easier to be removed. However, it's a blocker, so you can't really use it as a blocker, because you want the effect to activate every turn where it gives you a Don, because Bonnie needs that one Don then to rest an opponent's character. So I think it's like a Rouge. I think it's as strong, maybe a bit better because it's a bit cheaper at cost. And a 3k stat line is more of a challenge to remove than a 2k or 1k. Obviously like it makes sense. But what I'm saying, a lot of cards have an effect of 2k and less or 1k and less. I don't see many that say 3k and less. So I can't really recall any. Like straight on my top of my head, I can think of cards that bottom deck 1k or 2k and less, like the Crocodile promo, or like 3k is that stat line where it's the same as the Lucci Uta, the one that can't be attacked by leaders. That card is quite a menace to get rid of because it has a 3k stat line, and I think this card might be the same. Which is good, because I think Bonnie's already a strong deck, and we can see the stats at the moment. Bonnie is cooking, so this is a nice little niche, and the fact that it is Jewelry Bonnie, which makes me excited, because for those that do know me, I'm very much thematic with my decks, and I really want the themes to stay together, and I like it when you have deck builds that match each other. That's why I'm playing Buggy now. It's because all my cards are cross-skilled. I was playing Dofi before this and Usopp, because all my Dofi decks are Warlords. All my Usopp decks will Dressrosa. I like the thematics of it. I don't like playing decks where, I'm not sounding like a Shanks hater. Shanks is probably my favorite character, but the Shanks deck is Rev Army, Whitebeard Pirates, and the Redheads, Straw Hats, just cripping cards from everywhere to build a deck. I don't find that fun. So the fact that this is a Jewelry Bonnie, it's a supernova, I like it. I like it. I think it's definitely a nice card to add to the deck. I think it will be added. Whether it's a 4 of, not sure. Might be, because it's got a counter and it's a nice chum blocker and it has a good effect. But we'll see. Nice. Okay, so I'm a blue player, so this is cool. It says Cross Guild Mr. 3, the candle head. So my first thought about this when I looked at the card was the stat lines were pretty lame, not gonna lie. 2 cost 3 1k, 2 cost 1k. So you notice a lot of guys are playing around Buggy now are playing a lot of 1-drops that hit harder, 2 3k hits. So having a 2-drop on the field that for 1k is meh, but it is a chum blocker. However, so it's Mr. Gill, I'll just go through it. Former Broke works, 2 cost, 1 power, 1k counter, all pretty much average stats. It's like it's basic. If this character is rested by your opponent's effect, you may place this character in the trash to draw 2 cards. So essentially, it nets you 1 card when you play it, but you want to use it as a blocker. to save you from getting attacked. But if you can't because your opponent rested, you can then just trash it. But then it doesn't really do the effect of what you wanted, where you obviously blocking your opponent's attack. All it does is to draw you an extra card, which is great in hindsight. It's nice, but I mean, the 1k stat line is meh. But you're not going to want to be swinging with this. But there's some cases, like if you play against a Zorro deck or a Betty deck, obviously your promo is great, but a lot of them play a lot of 1-drops and then just swing with that. And this card doesn't really get you out of that. If you play like a 2-cost 2k, or I think it's 2 or 3k Richie, I think it's 2k, you can at least swing into those 1-drops. This at 1k, you're going to have to attach a couple of Don, which is not great. That's not ideal. So I'd prefer just playing maybe the 1-drop Searcher, because the buggy deck's in a weird position where there's a lot of cards that you can play and you got to find the right build. Does this really help and get into that build? I'm not too sure it does. At 2 Don, you can do a lot with buggy at 2 Don. Like, it's as weird as it sounds, but you play a lot of like the Cross Guild Searcher, the Mr. 3 Searcher, and then on your 6 Don play, you maybe want to be playing Leader Effect use that 1 cost for Searcher. On your 8 Don play, you can be playing maybe Sanjeev Pilaf and then Leader Effect. So it's like 9 Don play, even then you can play a 4 cost and Leader Effect. When are you going to usually use this 2 cost? And unless it's right in the beginning, and by then you kind of need cards, so you don't really want to be blocking that much. I don't know. That's just me. I think it's a nice addition if you want to maybe try it out, offer something new. It's a guaranteed block unless you can, or draw 2 cards. I don't think it's going to be changing the deck, to be honest. I don't think buggy players play this card. For me as a buggy player, I don't think it makes my deck. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. The next card. Nami, Straw Hat Pirates. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Straw Hat Pirate card other than Nami and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck. It's a 2 cost, 2k power, 1 counter, 1k counter, and has a trigger to play this card. Why do we keep giving Straw Hat purple stuff? Come now, Bandai. They already have the most consistent decks ever, and now we're just adding cards with triggers that do the exact same thing as the other searchers did. Now you can just replace it because there's triggers. Man, it's kind of painful. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, if you look at the stats now, the top 4 out of the 5 decks are purple Straw Hats. Bandai are milking purple Straw Hats. I get it. Straw Hats, yay, One Piece. It is centrally focused around Straw Hats, but how many times are we going to beat a dead horse? So 2 cost, another 2k power searcher. It just makes me feel like the song events that they printed in EBO2 is kind of useless, because they're just going to reprinting these searches that have triggers now to play the card, and you can just put a body on board and swing 2k into something that you want. Maybe to get rid of a chum blocker, a rested character like an Uta or a Mancheri or Sugar. I don't know. I don't know why Bandai keep consistent. I mean, it's a lovely card. Nami's always going to be a winner. Zeus is cute and looks like a marshmallow. But come now, Bandai. Oh well, listen. They can only play it. The way I look at it is the same way I view football. Man City might have 400 players, but they can only play 11. Purple Straw Hat decks might have all the best cards, but they can only play 50 of them. So, yeah, we'll move on from that quite swiftly. Shiryu, Blackbeard Pirates, 4 cost, 5k, 1k counter. If your leader is Blackbeard Pirates trait, this character gains blocker. On KO, if your leader has a Blackbeard Pirates trait, knock out to one of your opponent's characters. That costs 4 less. First of all, similar to the Straw Hat Purple, although Blackbeard obviously needs a bit of a spot. Why are we making more Blackbeard cards? And in the same breath, why are we making more Blackbeard cards that are pretty average? Like, obviously, you want to create something different. The nice thing about this is you put this card down and it removes a 4 cost or your opponent's board that's going to swing into you. So it's good against maybe more rush decks. But by the time you want to be playing this 4 cost Shiryu as a blocker, Yeah, I suppose it has its niches. Like, well, what else could Blackbeard? I mean, Blackbeard could play quite a couple of things instead, more effectively. But maybe if they want to stay in the game, it's a good way to clear a bit of your opponent's board. But it's the fact that it says KO one of your opponent's characters. Like, I'm trying to think now situationally. Okay, your opponent has a Basil Hawkins on the field. You KO one of their opponents, you lose a life. Okay, you're playing against a Bella Betty. You KO a 4 cost, which is great. The next turn they put in another 3 cards on the board, and all you've done in your forward on turn is put on a blocker to block 1, which blocks the attack and then KOs on that attack. But that's it. You've lost a card in hand. You can't. I mean, it's just a chum blocker, really, not a 2K. The stat lines are bang average. I mean, you're not going to be swinging with this card, because if you do swing it, your opponent won't attack into it because of the knockout effect. I don't know. I will definitely find play in some situations. Is it better than the other Shiryu that bottom decks? I think it's a 3 cost. Yeah, which is very good against like Teach. And that Shiryu then gets 6k power, which you want to be swinging with, or 7k power that when it's rested on your opponent's turn. I suppose it's not a blocker then, but I mean, the whole thing about Teach is you're going to be getting your blockers out a little bit later. You got that 7 cost Teach. Suppose it adds something to do to the even on turn phases, but I mean, Burgess, Kuzan, Dokyu, you want to be playing. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's not groundbreaking. It's quite generic. That's okay. We could say that it's quite generic. It has a good effect. It's useful. Will it change Blackbeard's deck? Don't think so. There's a lot of other ways that they have removal, especially for forecast and less. Nothing great, but it's good because they can't keep printing busted Blackbeard cards, because at the end of the day we all want to play One Piece and we want to have fun, and we can't do that when we're playing against Blackbeard. I'm sorry, Blackbeard players. Second last card, it's Atama. It's a 2 cost, 0k power, 2000 counter. Activate main. You may rest this character, take to the top card of your life area and add it to your hand. So you draw, so you gain in a card, but you lose a life. Then give up to one of your leader characters 3000 power at the turn. Trigger is rest one of your opponent's characters with a 4 cost or less. Okay, so first opinion is, wow, that's nice. That could work into a lot of decks. 3000 power is juice. The fact that it's an activate main means it's a pseudo blocker. Your opponent has to be swinging into that, because decks like when your opponent tries to starve you, you can just keep drawing. You won't be playing this in Betty, but what I'm trying to say is sometimes players don't swing into Betty. They try and starve her. This card, you give it 3000 power to your leader and you draw in a life card. Great. You won't be using this in Betty because it's not a rev. You'll be using it maybe in blue, yellow, Nami. I could see niche plays maybe with like a null. Niche plays with, because you want to use it, black, yellow, Luffy to try and get to your leader activated. I think this is a great card. I think this is actually a very good card. The fact that it has a trigger as well, if you want to use it to rest an opponent's attack, if you're worried about maybe them like a Burgess on the board, and they go into final swing for life on the 13-14k swing and their buddy hits you, and you can just rest it. So I think this is a great card. I think it's very strong. I think it will find a lot of play. I think it's meta relevant, and it's Atama, and we all love Atama. What I do think is funny is that every time Atama is in a card, it's always like 0 power, and it's always something to do with 3000. Whether it's minus 3000 and 3000, it's always 3000. So I like this card. I think it's very strong. I think Yellow needed a card like this. It does. I mean, it's Wano country, so you can play it in green, yellow, Yamato. Whether you want to be doing it in green, yellow, Yamato, maybe not. I mean, I can see a case for it, but yeah, I suppose because with the Monosuke, you want to be putting you put the card into your life that you kind of hope your opponent swings into to activate a trigger. So if you keep taking that card away to give 3000 power, eventually you're not really reliant on your triggers. But you can find the right balance. Maybe you put a 2k there with Momonosuke, put her down, activate main, bring the 2k back, and then 3000 power. So there's a world where that works. But yeah, I like it. I think it's very, very strong. I think it definitely helps. I think it fills a gap, and I think it's meta relevant. And then finally, the last card. Why was this card needed? Okay, so it's 1 cost, 1k power, 2k counter. Already go to any deck it goes into because of 2k power. A Sabo Luffy, the 3 trio. OPO 13 007. So this is not PRB, it is the reveal of OPO 13. 1 cost, 1k power, like I said, 2k counter. Activate main, you may attach 1 Don to one of your leaders or characters and put this character on trash. Give one of your opponent characters 3,000 minus this turn. Wow. Okay. A lot to digest here. I think it's got perfect stat lines in terms of being a 1-drop. Of being a 1k that it doesn't matter because you're not going to be swinging with it because you want to use the activate main. It's a 2k counter, which is insane. And the fact is that you'll probably find a lot of them, this card is going to be running Shanks, 100%. Because it's basically Balding Snake for whenever you need it. And it's a 2k counter, so you can get rid of Balding Snake. Because it's an activate main, attach 1 Don to one of your leaders or characters. So it's an active Don. So it's 2 Don, but it's an active Don. And put this character onto the trash in a minus 3k. So you essentially, think about it, if you play this card, add it to Ben Beckman's trash effect. Or add it to Whitebeard's knockout effect. Or add it to, anything really, like even what's it, the 10,000 power Shanks removal, the 10k, the 10 cost. You put this down the turn before, or you have this on the field, you leave it there, you put that Shanks after you minus 3,000, there goes a 12k body. It's strong. It's very, very strong. Atama does the same thing, except Atama, you have to play it on that turn, whereas this, you can leave it on the board. So your opponent has to do something about it. I like it. Very, very strong. I think this is a bit groundbreaking. I think this is a bit meta defining. I think it's helpful in a lot of red decks. I think the minus 3,000 is huge, and the fact that you attach 1 Don after you have to activate a main. So you can put this down a couple of turns before and leave it on the field. And then when you want to use the effect, it's basically 1 Don power to whoever you're going to swing with, since you're minusing the 3, which is unreal. So especially for decks that want to maybe attack active cards. I know Kobe at the moment is attacking a lot of active cards. You leave this on the field, you put a card that attacks active characters into sword against rush, minus 3,000, swing, bang. That is insane. This amount of combos that you can play with this card, unreal. I think this card is definitely going to be spoken about a bit going forward, and I think it's going to be meta relevant, definitely meta relevant, and it is such a cool looking card. And I would assume it would help as well with the Rady deck, because with that low to the ground package, you're going to be like with the Boa event and that Luffy, you can minus in 3,000 power on board and moving a 1 Don across to your Luffy to be swinging in. I think this is a great card. I really, really like it in terms of its power and the effectiveness. I don't like the fact that it's going to be used against me, because as a buggy player, minusing 3,000, removing, I'm already then losing a card to use Hawktua Crocodile's effect. And then if they do not remove it, it's down to 3,000 power they can swing into it. So, but I think it's a super strong card. I think it's definitely meta relevant. And if this is a look at going forward, an OP13 is going to be a crazy set. Anyway, guys, that was my review on the new cards. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and comment, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.